What do you do when Candace Owens says something's coming? You don't grab popcorn, you grab cover. Because when Candace drops a warning, it's never a vague horoscope. It's usually followed by a digital earthquake that rattles everyone from DC donors to Twitter trolls. And this time, she's not hinting. She's straight up arming herself with what she calls the insurance policy of truth. Yeah, Candace just told the world she's triggered her own dead man switch. Files, evidence, messages, ready to detonate if anything happens to her. The warning heard round the web. Candace Owens didn't just post a vague "something big is coming" tweet. She dropped what sounded like the digital equivalent of a final will and testament. No emojis, no filters, no cute dog in the background. Just her, a camera, and a tone so sharp it could slice glass. She stared straight into the lens and said, "If anything happens to me, you already know who to look at." Boom. That line hit harder than a Kanye tweet at midnight. Within minutes, social media went from gossip to DEFCON 1. Her fans went into full lockdown mode, screenshotting everything she's ever posted, archiving videos, and whispering about the files. Critics? They called her paranoid, attention-seeking, dramatic. But the one thing nobody could deny, she sounded dead serious. Then came the plot twist. Candace revealed she'd created what she called her insurance policy of truth, not a metaphor, a literal digital insurance plan. She said she had compiled and encrypted all her private communications, texts, emails, voice recordings, even legal documents, and sent copies to 8 trusted individuals scattered across the world. Think of it as a human time bomb wrapped in NDAs and encrypted drives. In her words, if they silence me, they can't silence the truth. That wasn't just a warning, it was a dare. Because in today's internet ecosystem, power doesn't fear lawsuits anymore. It fears leaks. Within hours, hashtags like #Candace warning and #deadmanswitch activated started trending. Clips of her statement flooded TikTok and Rumble like cinematic trailers for a real-life political thriller. Podcasters dissected her tone, analysts speculated who they might be, and everyone, from the mainstream to the fringe, agreed on one thing. This wasn't a woman bluffing for views. This was a woman drawing a line in digital sand and daring anyone to cross it. Even Elon Musk chimed in with a one-line post. Hope she's safe. That was enough to send X into meltdown, because when billionaires start sounding nervous, you know something real might be brewing. And just like that, Candace flipped the internet upside down, transforming a late-night rant into a global guessing game. Who is they? What's in those files? And why now? Her message wasn't just heard, it was felt. It spread like a pulse through the political bloodstream, because whether you love Candace or can't stand her, everyone understood the subtext. If she's warning people this loudly, something's moving behind the curtain, and she's daring it to show its face. But if you thought that was the climax, oh no, that was just the opening shot, because what came next wasn't a warning, it was a detonation, and it all started with one jaw-dropping line that changed the story forever. The texts that sparked a firestorm when Candace Owens said she had the receipts. Nobody realized she meant actual receipts, like literal text messages that could make PR teams faint. This wasn't your average screenshots and vibes expose. Nope, she came armed with private group chat messages allegedly involving Charlie Kirk and several high-ranking insiders from Turning Point USA. And what those messages contained was enough to ignite a digital inferno. The first leak hit like a lightning bolt. Just lost another huge Jewish donor, $2 million a year because we won't cancel Tucker. I'm thinking of inviting Candace. That single sentence blew the doors off the internet, because it wasn't just a casual complaint. It sounded like a man defying a silent power structure. And then came the kicker. Jewish donors play into all the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. Boom. That was the spark that lit the fire. In an instant, timelines turned into battlegrounds. Half the internet screamed forged, while the other half screamed finally the truth. It was chaos in high definition. Political gossip with the energy of a celebrity scandal. Reddit went into forensic mode, comparing timestamps, metadata, even font spacing like digital detectives with too much caffeine. Telegram channels began popping up with alleged insider confirmations. And then, just when people thought it couldn't get crazier, Candace dropped another nuclear bomb. She said those texts weren't random leaks. They were part of a bigger pattern of pressure and manipulation Charlie had faced in his final weeks. According to her, Kirk was being pushed to cut ties with Tucker Carlson and silence Candace herself. And when he refused, the donor started disappearing. It wasn't just about politics anymore. It was about control. Her words hit like a slap. These weren't disagreements, they were warnings, and Charlie didn't play along. That line turned every viewer into a detective. Suddenly, people were pulling up flight logs from the Hamptons, tracing donor lists, and trying to figure out who the mysterious names in the group chat might be. And then, the most shocking twist of all, Andrew Calvette, a Turning Point partner, came forward on camera and confirmed it. He said, "Yes, that screenshot is real. I was in the group chat." And just like that, the internet lost its collective mind. Memes flooded X within hours. Candace Owens was right again. Turning Point turning pointed. This group chat has more plot twists than Netflix. But behind the humor, there was a darker undertone. Because if those messages were authentic, it meant Charlie Kirk wasn't just losing donors. He was standing up to something bigger, something that didn't want to be questioned. For Candace, that was the proof she needed, and the trigger she didn't expect. The moment those texts hit the air, her name wasn't just trending, it was burning across every feed. And as the storm swelled, one question started echoing through the chaos like thunder. If Charlie really sent those messages, what was he about to expose before it was too late? And that's where it gets even more unhinged. Because the next revelation didn't come from the internet. It came from inside the media. A single name drop flipped the entire story on its head, dragging a major publication right into the blast zone. The silence before the storm. For a few hours after the text leaks, it felt like the internet forgot how to breathe. No one knew what was real, what was bait, or what was about to drop next. And that's when the strangest thing happened. Everyone went quiet. No one, not the media, not Turning Point USA, not even Candace, said a single word. And in a digital age where silence is louder than a scandal, that quiet hit like a siren. It was the kind of silence that makes you lean in, not back away. Like that eerie pause in a horror movie right before the jump scare. You know something's coming. You just don't know from which direction. For Candace Owens, that silence was fuel. She wasn't just waiting for the backlash, she was daring it to arrive. She tweeted nothing, posted nothing, and didn't even tease a new video. Just disappeared. Which, for Candace, that's practically an earthquake. Meanwhile, inside conservative media circles, people were panicking behind closed doors. Producers were allegedly scrubbing segments. Insiders were deleting group chats, and PR reps were clarifying statements faster than lawyers could type disclaimers. You could almost hear the sound of digital shredders working overtime. But Candace's silence wasn't fear. It was strategy. It was that "I already know something you don't" energy. She knew that in the social media game, the pause can be deadlier than the post. And sure enough, the internet filled that silence with speculation. Some said she was being advised to stand down. Others claimed she was collecting the next batch of receipts. And a few conspiracies, okay, a lot of conspiracies, suggested something darker. That powerful players were trying to shut her up before the next shoe dropped. Because here's the thing, Candace had already hinted that there was more. Remember her cryptic line from the week before? The next 48 hours will make a lot of people very uncomfortable. Well, 48 hours had passed, and now everyone was on edge. Even her enemies were watching her pages like clockwork, waiting for her to reappear. Then came the whisper, a tiny ripple across Telegram and fringe forums, that she'd been approached by unnamed officials to hand over evidence she claimed to have. No screenshots, no proof, just whispers. But in today's world, whispers spread faster than wildfire. And then, like the eye of a storm tightening, the silence broke. Candace finally resurfaced, posting one line on X that sent chills across every feed. "They told me to stay quiet. I'm not built for silence." Boom. That single post hit 10 million views in an hour. It wasn't just a comeback, it was a warning shot. Everyone knew what it meant. Something was brewing. Her followers called it the calm before the drop. Critics called it attention seeking. But the smart ones, they knew. This wasn't over, not even close. And here's the wild part. Candace wasn't the only one going silent. Andrew Calvette, the man who confirmed the texts were real, vanished too. No interviews, no podcasts, no tweets, nothing. It's like the key witnesses in this story all took the same vow of silence overnight. That's when the internet really lost it. People started timing how long each person had been inactive, building charts, tracking IPs. Because when this many public figures go quiet at once, you know the storm hasn't hit yet. But the pressure's building. The silence didn't mean peace, it meant something's coming, and that something came crashing in harder than anyone expected. Because when Candace finally broke that silence, she didn't just speak, she named names, and dragged the story straight into the heart of the mainstream media, the leak that vanished. So just when the internet thought it had cracked the code, boom, the biggest twist yet. Late at night around 2:43 a.m., because apparently all major conspiracies happen between caffeine crashes, a mysterious leak hit Telegram, Rumble, and a few corners of X. It was supposedly the missing piece, a folder titled ck_truthvault.zip. Yeah, real subtle. Within minutes, screenshots started flying, alleged documents, encrypted video stills, even what looked like internal Turning Point USA memos. One image in particular went viral, a blurry shot of Charlie Kirk sitting in a dark room with a timestamp from just days before his death. The caption under it? The night before everything changed. Cue total chaos. Every influencer from political junkies to gossip podcasters jumped on it. One Rumble creator even streamed himself opening the files live, complete with dramatic music and enhanced zooms like he was in a CIA movie. The chat was melting down, but then, just as fast as it appeared, it was gone. Every upload vanished. Links went dead. Accounts that reposted the files got shadow banned or straight up nuked. Within 1 hour, the entire leak disappeared from the internet like it had never existed. And that's when people really started freaking out, because nothing screams real louder than a digital disappearance. Some claimed it was copyright enforcement, others swore federal agencies flagged it, but the pattern was too clean. Every trace, every post, every file mirror, every backup tweet vanished in the same 10-minute window. That's not coincidence, that's coordination. One Redditor put it best: we didn't watch a leak, we watched a cleanup. Now, here's where it gets even darker. People who did manage to download fragments said the files weren't normal PDFs or Word docs. They were encrypted packages. The file names looked like codes, stuff like C72_Exodus_final, Project Zion _Part 3, donor thread _9_9_final_real final. You know when someone names a file, final_final? Yeah. That's when you really know something's shady. Then came the kicker. A handful of tech sleuths dug into the metadata before it disappeared and found something chilling. The upload didn't trace back to Candace's known accounts, but to an IP block registered in Zurich, Switzerland. And you can guess what happened next. Everyone started screaming deep state, foreign servers, controlled release. Theories exploded faster than Elon tweets. Some said Candace leaked it herself to bait the media. Others claimed someone inside TPUSA wanted to warn her or frame her. But one thing was certain, somebody wanted that leak gone. Even mainstream outlets got spooked. Newsweek quietly removed its latest update about the Kirk controversy just hours later. Fox skipped it on primetime entirely. CNN made one passing reference, and then pivoted to pumpkin spice season, classic diversion tactic. But the silence made the story bigger. By morning, hashtags like #TheLeak that vanished and #TruthVault files were trending. Thousands of users swore they saw the footage before it vanished, comparing notes like crime scene witnesses. Candace herself, dead silent, no denial, no clarification, no "this is fake news" post. Just one chilling cryptic post that read, "You can delete files, you can't delete truth." That line hit like thunder. It wasn't just a warning, it was a declaration. And here's the twist. 48 hours later, fragments of the leak began resurfacing from unexpected places. Tiny clips, screenshots, even pieces of emails, all uploaded anonymously under different usernames. It was like someone had scattered the truth across the internet, making it impossible to kill all at once. And that's when everyone realized, maybe this wasn't an accident, maybe this was the plan all along. Candace once said, "If anything happens to me, the truth will still drop." Well, it looked like the drop had started, whether she hit upload or not. But if you thought that was wild, wait until you hear what happened next. Because when Candace finally spoke up about the vanishing leak, she didn't just double down, she called out the names she says are trying to bury her. And the internet has not stopped shaking since. The countdown begins. Candace Owens took the internet from rumor mill to ticking time bomb with one cryptic post, a black and white hourglass, and the words, "Time's almost up." No context, no hashtags, just chaos. Within hours, #Candace Countdown exploded as sleuths sleuths dissected every pixel like it was the Zapruder film. Each edit to the image, the darkening tones, the chilling caption, "You can't stop what's coming," fueled paranoia and fascination in equal measure. Then came the alleged hidden timestamp buried in the photo's metadata, pointing to a 7-day deadline. Suddenly, it wasn't a meme, it was a digital ultimatum. Podcasters live streamed clocks, pundits panicked, and even blue-check insiders started scrubbing their tweets like witnesses before a trial. For days, silence ruled. Then Owens broke it with a 15-second rumble clip, whispering, "Tick-tock." The world lost its collective mind. Glitches hit creators who mentioned her, networks nervously joked on air, and anonymous sources went dark. As the countdown reached 0, she reappeared, calm, deliberate, terrifyingly certain, and declared, "They've had their chance. Tomorrow, everything changes." In that moment, Candace didn't just own the news cycle, she became it. The countdown wasn't about time, it was about dominance. She weaponized suspense, turned silence into power, and made the entire internet hold its breath, waiting for whatever tomorrow would bring. And if you think that's where it ends, oh no. Because what came after the countdown wasn't just another leak, it was something far more dangerous. Something that made even her critics whisper, she actually did it. The war for truth itself. By the time Candace Owens whispered, "Tomorrow, everything changes," the internet wasn't ready for what came next. When her countdown hit 0, reality itself glitched. Posts vanished, videos froze, and even typing her name felt like a digital crime. Then came the line that flipped the script. "They're not censoring me, they're censoring you." Suddenly, it wasn't just Candace versus the media, it was truth versus the machine. Mainstream outlets scrambled to discredit her, but every fact check only made her bigger. Out of nowhere, creators banded together as the Receipt Resistance, vowing to repost every deleted clip 1,000 times. It was the birth of a grassroots rebellion against the algorithm itself. Then came the bombshell. Leaked memos revealed major media execs literally plotting how to out-saturate Candace, drown her message in noise, chaos, and bots. The internet turned into a hall of mirrors where every truth came with 10 fakes. But Candace didn't flinch. Sitting in a dim studio, she delivered one of her most haunting lines yet. "If truth dies, civilization dies with it." In that moment, the saga stopped being about Charlie Kirk. It became a battle for who owns reality. Candace stood alone on one side, backed by millions of digital soldiers who saw her as the last voice willing to fight the machine. The war for truth had officially begun, and this time everyone was in it. And if you think this was the climax, you might want to hold on to your seat, because these facts takes us to the moment Candace finally pulled the trigger on the very system trying to erase her. And what happened next shocked everyone on both sides of the divide. So what do you think? Is Candace Owens really sitting on evidence that could blow open one of the biggest political mysteries of our time? Or is this just the ultimate power move in the digital age of paranoia? Drop your thoughts below, smash that like button before the algorithm buries this video, and don't forget to subscribe, because when something's coming, you'll want to hear it here first.